Outstanding, Whitesnake.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Here we go again on our own.
On our own. Yes. Yes.
God. Down the only road we've ever known.
You know what? At that ending, that little ending you were doing there, I thought you were about to do Jimi Hendrix doing the national anthem or something from Woodstock, you know?
It's just a wreck, dude, afterwards. I don't know why.
You'll have to save that for like the 4th of July or something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea. So we'll do that for the 4th of July. Actually, the 4th of July lands on a Wednesday.
Wow, who knew?
Oh, no, a Tuesday. Okay.
A Tuesday. So, all right.
I will make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
But you know what? If I really screw it up, I'll be getting hate mail from around the country.
You'll have to nail it then. You're just going to have to nail it. Instead of fearing the hate mail and not doing it, you have to lean in and say, I accept the challenge.
Lean into the disaster.
And you're going to nail it. Well, I have my Arnold Palmer tea lemonade thing.
Oh, awesome. You know what? I didn't even know that they had Arnold Palmer tea thing.
I know. Who knew?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Who knew? I'm expecting we should just get a royalty right now just from the Arnold Palmer estate just for showing that, you know, for product placement.
You should.
There.
Exactly. I think so. But, you know, we're all about the digital divide. So, hey, welcome, everybody. IoT Coffee Talk. Remember, we are all about bridging the digital divide. So please, if you like our show, you support our show, please support elevateourkids.org. And you can also, if you don't like giving donations and being charitable, you can also get a really cool shirt. Seriously, these shirts are awesome. They actually look very, very good on people. So
they do.
You can buy one and you will indirectly, be helping a child get a device and connectivity so they can participate in a inclusive way with the digital economy, digital education, all this digital stuff that we always talk about. So
absolutely. We're sending bits over the interwebs to your screen so that you can get educated. You're going to learn. You might learn some math, as my British friends say to me. Yes.
Garage. Yeah. Made it with aluminium doors.
Aluminium. There's like an extra vowel in there or something. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that.
We've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time, right?
we are all wrong for sure. For sure. Are you gonna go do anything over? I know we got a long kind of 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, we do.
I know some, because 4th of July is on Tuesday. I know some companies are letting people off on Monday and Tuesday, which give you 4 days.
Foreigner 4 days. Yeah. So, I'll tell you what my plan is, or our plan is to avoid all those people who have foreigner 4 days of vacation.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there is no such thing as vacation for Leonard Lee and the Lee family, other than what's provided, as national holidays and when the kids are out of school and,
Right. So
we have a fully elective vacation schedule.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Throughout the year. So that's how cool.
But you do live in a vacation destination already. So there's that. But of course, when you live there your whole life, it probably doesn't feel like a vacation destination.
It really not lately, but
wow.
Yeah, we're going to be avoiding people. What about you?
I'm going to go down to Bend, Oregon, which is really beautiful. It's over there in Eastern Oregon on the other side of the mountains. And what is it? Is it the Rogue River? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So beautiful up there, man. It's crazy. And I love going up to Mount Rainier and that place, especially in the fall.
I mean, no doubt this is the time of year you want to be up in this part of the country because the weather's perfect and it's just, you're right. It's just mountains and forests and water everywhere. And so, yeah, it's good to be out. Yeah. I highly recommend people, if you like to go hiking or exploring wilderness, man, go check out national parks when you get a chance during the summertime. I think, I know it sounds cliche, but as Ken Burns really as Ken Burns said in his documentary about America's national park, it was America's best idea. And you know what? I would agree with that. I think I would agree with that. I didn't used to think about that. I used to be like, oh, who wants to do that? I want to go to Disneyland or something. But you know what? You just mentioned going to Mount Rainier National Park. I mean, that's some beautiful stuff.
In the fall.
No, you want to go?
You know what? This is what I picture. Okay, what you're selling right now is this serene picture of a family in the wilderness, all alone. In the foreground or backdrop, you're gonna see this beautiful wilderness. But the reality is, you go there and it's like freaking all these trailers everywhere and campers and a crap ton of people.
I'm glad you said that. I thought you were going to say something like, like getting attacked by grizzly bears or something like that. We were so wrong. We thought this was going to be a great family trip, and we lost 2 of our kids.
That's figure out a good story for that one.
Yeah, there you go. So,
no, but I agree. If you can somehow avoid the crowds to a certain reasonable degree during the summer, it's great.
Absolutely. It's usually not too bad. It's not too bad. I've had to learn lessons about when to begin a hike up a mountain, though. For instance, you start early.
Yeah.
Super early. You will underestimate how long it's going to take you to get up there to the top, and also how long it takes you to get down.
Yeah. How painful it is to go down. Everyone thinks it's uphill, and they think the downhill is easy.
One time, stupid me. So I don't want to consider this some major mountain, but kind of near where we live, on the east side, of Seattle there, Bellevue, Redmond, Issaquah, all that stuff. There's Mount Si, which is close to us near Snoqualmie, Washington, and not far from where I am. And it's really beautiful. And there's great hiking up there. And I remember one time I decided, I'm going to climb up Mount Si. There's kind of switchback trails. You go up there and it's beautiful. When you're up top, not only can you, even though you're way over in the east, you can see downtown. It's like you're looking down on downtown Seattle. You can see all the Puget Sound, all the islands. You can see it's incredible. But I remember doing it and I got my start like closer to lunchtime. And I just didn't think it was a big deal. And then, I'm get to the top kind of late in the afternoon and it's beautiful and everything. And it's like, now I'm going to start heading down. Well, needless to say, you're going down a mountain in the dark. Sucks. And since I'm not a pro hiker mountain man, like all the people that have the headlight deal on their hats and they've got all the gear. In fact, I'd see guys running full speed going down, which is mind-boggling to me. And this was a while ago, I remember, and all I had was my smartphone for light. And so I had it wasn't even like the beam of light you have in the back of an iPhone. This is like Windows mobile phone stuff. So the light, the screen itself is all I had to make it down the mountain. So anyway, hey kids out there, get an early start when you go mountain climbing, because if you find yourself in the dark, you don't want to be trapped up on a mountain. it can get chilly. And there's critters up there.
Yeah, and they come out at night.
They come out at night, and they might think that you're their next meal.
But then
not to scare anybody.
Yeah, so don't show up on the front page of the local news.
Which is why we have IoT.
Exactly. You know, and this might actually be a good prelude to a discussion about that. I'm hearing a lot of stuff about satellite, non-terrestrial networks, especially a lot of folks in the 5G or the cellular community getting really excited about that. But then, so in a situation like that, where, Rob, you're a pretty smart guy. And the fact that you ever got into a situation like that actually lends credence to this idea of emergency SOS, right?
Weren't we all thrilled when the new iPhone came out with satellite communications for idiots like me who might be out on a mountain somewhere and at the wrong time?
No, geez.
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty helpful. The odd thing is I don't live anywhere near the wilderness, right? I actually live in 5G town, and I've had the SOS service as the only available service several times. So my carrier, take note, embarrassing. Got to get coverage in places that are not in the middle of nowhere. Where, especially in my neighborhood where I have a bunch of Microsoft, Apple, Qualcomm, and you name it, engineers and executives living around, within spitting distance,
you're so close to Qualcomm. I would expect more.
I can throw a tomato at the HQ. Not that I would.
You could.
I chose a tomato, maybe a basic.
I don't know why. You're also close to Miramar, so there's that. So you got that going for you.
Yeah. There's a lot of noise about all this stuff, which.
But you posted recently a speed test that was super impressive, though.
Yeah, I was shocked. I'm like, it was almost like 1.3 gigabits per second on the down.
It's like, dude, you could start running your own data center off of your phone.
Yeah, exactly. That was pretty insane. Like I said in my post, you can actually feel the difference on your phone. I mean, I know that, like, when I'm in New York, when I was in New York before 5G, you go into these areas where the coverage is really poor. The entire phone acts really goofy. And so, I typically dwell in areas that tend to have pretty good coverage and good service. So I was always wondering why people would be complaining about the phone itself, right? The functionality, the basic functionality. But then when you go to certain areas, you notice that what is otherwise a reliable phone will actually start acting really goofy. And, I think there are two factors. Number one, obviously, the speed of the connection, right? But then also the applications have been increasingly developed, splitting the load between the device and the cloud. And the cloud is the problem. When you depend on the cloud like that, you're going to get a performance hit, because I think with the connectivity being so intermittent and oftentimes poor, you get these system level lags, distributed system lags, right? And can you imagine for critical applications how this wouldn't work, and why, as much as, we've been kind of disillusioned by 5G, why, in certain applications, having that level of quality, right, sort of the promised quality, could be very, very useful.
Yeah.
And good. And, especially for emergency services and that lot, I mean, we're not going to be putting like a friggin' assembly line in the middle of Times Square, right? Anytime soon.
No, probably
so
not.
You need all the URLC stuff there, but there are some other applications where, you might want it,
Yeah, no, you're right. I was reminded, and I did a little post where I just was kind of reminding the world that cellular networks, that business of mobile operators, it's a best effort business, just like the airlines are a best effort business. People think the stuff is automatic or it's guaranteed.
Automagic.
And then you watch TV and you see people on the East Coast right now have been sleeping in airports for 2 or 3 days now because the flights canceled, massive delays and everything like that.
Acts of God.
And people thought, well, I paid for my airline ticket and it says it's from this time to this time, and how come this is not happening? And people lose it. But I guess I don't know if there's fine print somewhere that says this is a best effort business. We're going to try to do what we say we're going to do, but we might fail a lot. Well, people think when we talk about, sometimes we have these discussions about licensed versus unlicensed spectrum. And of course, the licensed spectrum people, AKA cellular people, will say, well, ours is more reliable. It's locked in by the government. We have it. And so it's going to be better than like your Wi-Fi or whatever. Well, is that always true? No, it's not true, because it's still a best effort business. There are no guarantees, no matter what coverage map you've seen or whatever, that your phone is going to work as advertised. Because not only are you connecting to a best effort business called the cellular industry, but then they're connected to another best effort endeavor called the internet.
Who would have thought it?
And so there's no magic bullet out there. We're all connected to things that might be strung together with duct tape.
Right. And I wish David was on here, because on that post, he pipes up and says, the carriers made a decision on best effort. But my whole response is this, or my whole perspective is this, is that, we also set the wrong expectation for URLC, that it would be everywhere. And we've been talking about this I've been talking about it personally in my own research for 5 years. And I think I'm pretty well known for this position, but we've talked about this on IoT Coffee Talk, which is the reason why you should listen to us, because we actually kind of go out there and try to figure out how things work, right? All of us. And then more importantly, a bunch of us have experience in the field doing this stuff either now, in the future, or in the past. The URLC, the critical communications stuff that has to be highly reliable requires a highly managed and highly engineered network, and you can't have that everywhere. So let's stop this notion that it's going to be available everywhere, and that operators are going to invest at that level to have the URLC magic out there. It's just not going to happen. It's going to cost too much. And consider, we started our show with this plead for charity or t-shirt purchases to bridge the digital divide. The digital divide is there because the operators can't figure out an economical way to connect people in the middle of almost nowhere, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. So the URLCC stuff, the ultra reliable, was a lot of that related to going into smart factories or something?
Yeah.
Because, right now, the fastest, most high speed, most reliable way to do a network in a building, in a factory, anywhere, is something we call Ethernet.
Yeah.
And there's nothing faster than it in your building, and there's nothing more reliable. It just works unless you lose power or whatever. Yeah. But a lot of people hate having to bring wires all over, cabling all over the building and stuff like that. And they go, God, I wish this wireless stuff was as fast as Ethernet and as reliable. And I thought that was a lot of the thinking behind that specification.
Yeah.
Was to be able to give you cellular capability that's fast and as reliable as Ethernet for machines or things that critical, time critical stuff. I haven't really heard much of any rollout of that at all.
Almost like none.
Yeah.
Like I've done several early podcasts, like some of them almost 3 years ago, where I was asking like engineers and even scientists about this stuff. It's like this stuff it works in the lab. You try to articulate the technology into something that is industrial grade out in a brownfield, especially.
Yeah. Good luck.
Our friends at Siemens have been doing a lot of experimentation with this stuff, and they still kick the can down the road for 5G.
Right.
And that's, I think, again, it goes into the why, I think the foundation of our show, which is, BS doesn't survive on the show. It's about setting the right expectations so you don't POC yourself into disappointment like we've done with IoT, right? I think that's key. And you only get so many shots. And a company like Siemens has basically got tons of resources to throw this stuff into a lab and see if it works. They'll continue to invest to see, okay, where's that tipping point or inflection point where we can actually roll this stuff out in a large scale where it's going to be meaningful. But an enterprise, they're not going to do it. They'll give you one or two shots, maybe one.
Right.
And you're a vendor, you go in there and you do a pilot or you work with the client on a project. C-suite is pretty, short and patient.
Yeah. You're right.
Now,
you're right.
If you tell them at a certain point, a promised date where you're providing a result that, hey, look, this stuff is not, we can't take it to the next step in commercializing it within our business, then why are we looking at that? Right.
And there's always the why should we try or why whatever, because the Ethernet we have works. And there'll be a lot of people, the current operators of a factory or whatever, are like, don't you dare touch this thing that is working, just humming perfectly, with your cool new stuff that's going to blow up my whole system and make it less reliable, and then I'm not going to get my bonus this year. And then I won't be able to take my kids to Disney.
Yeah.
And then I won't be able to go hiking in a national park in the summer and be attacked by grizzly bears. So don't you dare do that,
don't you dare.
That's where it comes down to ultimately. And also to all our millions of viewers out there, I made a critical error when I said that Bend, Oregon is, by the Rogue River, which it's not. That's farther south in Oregon. It's the Deschutes River. And we've had Deschutes beer. Yeah. Anyway, I know our millions of viewers were going to, how we always get our emails that come in, our text messages every day after every show. And it's just like, so don't send me emails about the Rogue River versus Deschutes. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. See, you know what you did is you just proved that humans are better than generative AI. See, if you were a chat GPT, you would have just made that crap up and let it.
I would have made it up. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it's Bill.
1 point for humans.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Where are you at?
I'm in Portland. Just landed.
Oh, no way. You guys you're too close. That's crazy.
Yeah. I just landed. Man, I don't feel any humidity, so I feel lost.
And it's not 119 degrees either.
Exactly. Look, man, hey, out there in Austin, man, I saw the devil running around butt naked looking for some water.
Oh my God. You know what? I believe it. All my friends down in Texas are just burning alive right now.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. Wake up in the morning at 5 a.m, man, and the walls are sweating.
So is that what you guys do in Texas? You sit at home with a little glass of iced tea and then come up with clever sayings like that all day about the heat?
Oh my God. Wow. So what's going on in Portland?
I'm out here meeting up with NIST and NTIA and a few other folks, talking about best practices, man. How to make this stuff real.
Yeah,
that's awesome. They're gonna love your hat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. You gotta love it, man.
Oh well, all they've got is the Trailblazers. No, wait, no, they got the Portland Timber soccer team.
What? Oh yeah, but they don't have a football team out here.
But no football team. No.
They got the Ducks.
We got the Ducks. That's right, down in Eugene.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Hey, not to take us off track, but we got, and you can edit this out. Leonard, but we gotta get something together for that keynote. We got a keynote for Mountain Connect.
Okay.
Oh, I keep forgetting about that.
Let's talk about it offline. Hey, come on, we're busy people.
Oh yeah,
I am not in the mood to travel. I've been traveling for almost 3 months every week, and
you got me beat. I did 6 weeks, and that was it.
So we're supposed to be in Denver, like in August or something.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we're doing a keynote. I don't think it's August.
I think it's. I want to say it's September.
Oh,
I hope it's not September.
This out, right?
I have like 3 other events that are in September that I have to tell all of them. I'm not going to be able to make it because I have to go to a wedding. But gosh, wow.
Things have to be on my calendar. I don't put them on myself. So
dude, you gotta ping on Mr. Vasquez while you're in Portland, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I plan on it. That's the plan. I'm going to do that because I'm not leaving until Friday evening.
Oh, wow.
I should just drive down there and hang out with you guys. It's only a 3-hour drive.
Oh my God, only 3 hours. Now you sound like a real Texan.
Yeah.
3 hours is nothing.
I'm like Stephanie.
Texas. I mean, seriously, it's only like 160 miles between Seattle and Portland, so it's real short.
That's
real short.
Yeah.
So maybe it's only a 2-hour drive.
You start saying 3 hours, man, and I'm like, I'm booking a flight.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Anyway,
nice.
You let me know because I'd be happy to jump in the car and come hang out with you guys, even if it's just to have lunch or something.
Hey, absolutely. So I'm going to reach out to you. My Uber just got here.
All right.
Finish up the show, fellas. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right.
Go tell NIST how to do it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's done.
All right.
Later.
All right, brother.
Adios.
All right. Take care. That was funny.
That's funny. Yikes.
Yeah.
I do see those nasty gram emails though about the Mountain Connect event that we're supposed to be at in Denver at some point in the future.
Yeah. I'll have to look that up, see if I can even
Right.
Yeah. The problem is that in September, actually around August, that's when things start picking up again. And I'm really trying to find a nice large piece of time where I don't travel, because it takes a lot out of you,
Absolutely.
And I always get these, well, you're traveling everywhere. It must be so fun. It's like, yeah, it can be fun. Also, why the hell am I doing this? This reminds me of my consulting days. You know?
No, I mean, it's a mixed bag. Sometimes traveling is fun, no doubt about it. And we get to go to new places and see parts of the world that you wouldn't have seen otherwise just because of your job, which has been great. But you're right. Sometimes it starts to get old. No doubt about it. Well, I hear that.
Yeah. And so if there's younger folks watching the show, it's great learning when you're doing it when you're younger, right? And don't have kids. the mortgage part happens, then everything kind of changes. I don't know about the kid part because I had kids later in life, but when the kids kick in, especially when they're really cute and squishy and cuddly, then it's really hard to leave town.
So Leonard, did you see, like, arguably one of the world's top VCs, Vinod Kushla, making he's kind of going crazy on Twitter lately, I noticed. And so he got a lot of love for this tweet about McKinsey.
Poor McKinsey.
I know. And then he really pissed off my wife because she was an English major and she's a teacher, and he posted like, how dumb are you, or how, I forgot what it is, to go major in English in college when that's your native language. Like, what a waste of time that is, and you should be doing something STEM or whatever.
Yeah,
and
right.
Then
how do you do STEM if you can't speak English in your own English?
I know, and so
which is actually a problem.
Yeah. So he was basically just belittling, Americans who might major in English. And so, needless to say, there were a lot of comments.
Yeah, maybe, maybe he had a really tough day.
Maybe so. Sometimes you have a tough day,
He disappointed him somehow, and he felt like, hey, I got to tweet this. So
maybe one of his portfolio companies just went out of business and he just lost $6 billion overnight. And so he was kind of irritated. I don't know. Yeah. You're just making stuff up,
Like what I did a podcast recently with Debbie Reynolds, and we were talking about responsible AI. It really starts with being accountable to yourself. If you're going to use a tool and you get a bad outcome, be ready to blame yourself, not the tool or, the resource that you hired. You're ultimately responsible. But then, that is kind of the game, right? I mean, it's like, how do I put the, T's and C's together to offset the risk and the liability on someone else?
Right.
Business or your own portfolio. I mean, that's, I think that's sort of the attitude. I don't think it's a really healthy one. I suppose that can inspire you to write some funky stuff on Twitter.
We never do that, though, luckily.
I don't know. Sometimes, we're only human.
We're only human.
And so that's the other thing that we all have to remember. And he's only human. So
he's only human.
He had a bad day. And
had a bad day.
Your wife.
Yeah. So I can't remember. Last week, where you were at the Sensor Converge.
Yeah, great show. Really
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of good folks there showing off their sensors.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, on last week's episode, it's just probably one of those underappreciated levels of the IoT. Probably the most essential.
Probably the most essential. Yep.
And, what I think is just really interesting is that what's happening there at that level, just being able to immerse myself into the conversations that the engineers and the scientists and the product folks are what they're engaging with at that level. And then, the other thing, we talked about HPE, this whole theme of hybrid cloud, I think is really cool. This is all about edge and the power of, I don't want to say power, how distributed computing has been discounted by the cloud narrative. Right. And we already talked about earlier how, it's weird how if you're in a location with really poor service, right, that cloud dependent mobile application will actually start, or even a phone will start to act really goofy and unreliably. it's a testament
to
cloud computing is not all that it's cracked up to be. And I saw a recent headline. What is it? Like Microsoft is looking to go, I don't know if this is true or not, but it was an article that was written based on, I think, a press release from Microsoft that they're trying to move toward a cloud Windows thing.
Cloud Windows thing. Woo.
And I'm thinking, man, really? This is not a new thought. People have tried to do it. We already have we already have explored this avenue before.
Yeah.
You just, come to the realization that some of the best architectures are hybrid. It's about fit for purpose.
Yeah. Right.
And, I think the limit there's a limit, like what you're saying. Best maybe this episode is going to be called the best effort episode. There's always so much you can do with a bunch of best effort between your data center and a friggin' endpoint device.
Yeah.
There's so much better. That's why this cloud gaming stuff never took off, because it all ends up being on the edge.
Do you realize the reason for a while I switched from the iPhone to Samsung is when they came out with the Samsung, whatever, their big one, the 20 5G, Ultra 5G. It had a really long name. It was their first 5G phone, and 20. They even came with a deal that would hold it connected to a gaming console.
Yeah.
The controller looked like a Xbox controller, and it was all in with, and they were aligning themselves with Microsoft and Xbox cloud gaming. And I was like, yeah. And at the same time, do you remember, what was the gaming company that was suing Apple? Because
Epic.
Yeah. And so that was going on, and there was this whole power to the people and gamers thing. And so I just jumped right on board. And man, that cloud gaming stuff just sucked.
Yeah. I mean, that's not anywhere.
There was a narrative, though. It was like Samsung was like, we're going to be first with 5G. We got our biggest screen possible on a smartphone, and we got it was a good idea. It just didn't kind of work out. Back to that best effort thing you were talking about there.
Yeah, and it does, and I think this is something that people, these companies need to think through, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that really pisses me off, dude, is friggin' productivity tools that are cloud synced first. They're cloud synced heavy, and then it leaves nothing on your device. And what we find ourselves in are oftentimes situations where we really need to have access to data, but also performant access to function. And like stuff like function. I think functions like autocorrect and stuff like that have to go all the way to the cloud and then back, or these features that are, I've noticed that they really compromise the performance of the application, especially if you're offline. In fact, sometimes it's like non-functional, and so it's just not, that is not what business folks on the road want. That is negative,
Yeah.
And when applications are so cloud dependent, no bueno.
No bueno.
Sorry. It's a lot of best effort and sometimes no connectivity between your endpoint device and the cloud.
Which then took us to, obviously we've been talking about this edge stuff for a long time, but the telecom edge, that they, folks like my old employer Ericsson and others, and then the mobile operators try to say, oh, the edge is somehow part of 5G. And we're going to do the edge in base stations, at the bottom of cell towers and in invisible telecom metro data centers.
Yeah.
Because the cloud gaming thing didn't pan out. And it was like, well, if we can push that cloud gaming node closer to you, where your phone is, then maybe you'll have a good experience. And I certainly remember at Ericsson, we talked a lot about gaming being an edge use case for 5G. Yeah. And I get it in theory. What a lot of people don't know is how much more complex edge like that is. And what I mean by that is, from an architecture standpoint, if it's a cloud, here's my cloud and I got a zillion guys all going into one-to-many thing. But if it's an edge, I've got cloud and then all these edge nodes and then all the people going to edge nodes, and they've all got to synchronize with each other. And can you imagine doing a multiplayer game? And, if the people you're playing against are on your cell tower, or maybe within a few miles of you, maybe that works great. But if the someone you're playing against is in another country, it kind of blows up the whole thing. In fact, it could be slower because we're having to synchronize edges, because they're saying, well, we're going to give edge to your other gamer opponent that's in Munich, and you've got your edge thing. But to keep them in sync, we're having to synchronize those edge nodes, maybe through the cloud or peer-to-peer.
Yeah, and to realize these consistent, reliable, and equitable connectivity for some of these real-time applications, like what people have been envisioning cloud gaming would be, requires so much re-engineering of the network. The question boils down to, well, who's going to benefit from the investment, right? So are operators going to invest all this money into making stuff deterministic from, like the core of the network all the way to every single device? I mean, think about all the hops and interfaces and, transitions that you have, hops that you have to optimize and make reliable for some of these visions to happen. It's super tough.
Yeah, it is.
So same goes with the XR AR. I think that's the problem. It's like, what do I say? It's like, look, think things through, and then you'll be better off for it. Do
absolutely
the assumptions that you have for different use cases, do they actually make sense? I mean, it's classic what we've seen in IoT, right? People didn't think things through. They just thought they were either a sensor maker or a module maker or a device maker or a network guy or a cloud guy. They all had this vision of how they're going to make a gajillion dollars.
Right.
And it's obvious because over the 3 years we've been doing this show, we've just made point by point by point observation about how people just didn't think these things through, right? And it's probably this is why we have so many, and this isn't a joke, and we don't know. Hey, look, full disclosure, we don't have a gajillion viewers, but we have some really, if you knew who watches the show, you'd be freaked out, because I kind of get freaked out sometimes too. But you know what? That's why people watch the show. You know what I'm saying? They get the real deal, and we. I
imagine superimposing a GIF of Cuba Gooding Jr. saying, "Show me the money," and then superimposing that in front of every mobile operator who thought they were going to get rich off of IoT, every module maker, all these different players who did their point solution or their piece of the pie, or the platform players in the cloud who've all collapsed. Most all of them have. And they're just like, show me the money, and it's kind of a weird deal, and how things go when things don't make money. People move along and move on, and go to something else, which is an interesting perspective on IoT, right?
I
know.
You know what? I hopefully we're not depressing people. I think the way I look at it is we're just trying to help people think about the way it is, so that they can have a better strategy.
Well, you know what? If you
this should be helpful stuff.
I guess all I would say is, if you're disgruntled by IoT or whatever, if you don't have it though, I think of IoT, I mean, no doubt about it. Early days, it's sexy, it's exciting, it's new. And now a lot of times you and I say it's just plumbing for data. But guess what?
Plumber episode.
That exciting hotness of AI doesn't exist if you don't have this boring plumbing. It just doesn't exist. And so if your goal is to have all that NVIDIA AI hotness happening in your life, you will first have to do IoT to get the data.
Yep.
And then we can plug in a new show me the money deal when, you actually got the money.
Yeah. And speaking of data, the biggest, AI has its problems that don't get talked about enough. But this is why, before the Gen AI craze, AI was on a downslope because, people didn't think about the data, but not in the way that people talked about the data problem. The problem is holes in data.
Yeah.
Without IoT and without strategically plugging in gaps in your visibility, right? You will not have a good AI, like what you're saying, Rob. It's
no data, no AI.
Yeah,
no data, no AI.
Somehow.
Bad data, bad AI. Poison data, bad AI.
Yeah, no, can you hallucinate the gaps? Sure.
In fact, that's what you should expect.
You're just filling the gap, but
that's what you should expect. No IoT, you get hallucinations. Boom.
There you go. Or if you don't have IoT, you're hallucinating.
You are hallucinating. That is what's happening. Yeah. Exactly. You must be hallucinating.
Yeah.
Because ChatGPT is hallucinating because there was gaps in the data. And so how do you fill those gaps? IoT plumbers to the rescue. We're coming to your house.
Yeah, you either make crap up or you get a plumber out there to fill the gap in the real world. Yeah, you're right.
This takes us back to maybe this should be a trade school thing. IoT is plumbing. You want to learn to be a plumber, an electrician, a welder, an IoTer.
Yeah, IoTer. But no, think about it, man. If I have like a clog in the toilet, dude, think about how much it costs to get a truck roll out here to unclog.
There you go. Exactly.
Like the do-it-yourself stuff. Dude, so if you haven't watched the plumber episode, okay, I don't know which number it is, you need to watch it.
Episode 10,025. I don't know.
My God. Yeah. Dude, buy a truck. Buy a van.
There you go.
Put like a IoT sensor, like a big mold of an IoT sensor, because those rat control or pest control companies with the big, put like an IoT sensor, a gateway, whatever. Buy some overalls. You need overalls because you're going to be bending
overalls.
On your knees quite a bit to install some of these sensors and devices. And friggin'
kind of coming together. Feels like a plumber job to me.
It is. That's why the people who are expecting to make a gajillion out of just the data don't make money. It's the truck roll. That's where you make the money.
Truck roll.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. You loving me now. You loving me now. Exactly.
Right here, baby.
Right here. Did we tell all of our fans, the millions of people watching, that if we see them out on the street wearing our shirt, what they're going to get?
No, actually, I have no idea what they're going to get.
Is this like
you're hallucinating this?
Like the radio stations? If we see you out on the street wearing blah, 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 you may win $10,000 right on the spot. If we see you wearing an IoT Coffee Talk shirt on the street, you will win $1 on the spot, guaranteed.
Yeah, via Apple Pay, because I don't carry cash around anymore. So
I know.
I can't.
A long time ago, we might have said, we'll give you 1 Bitcoin on the spot, but now we can't afford that. Yeah. Well, oh my gosh. Cool. Good times.
Yeah. Wow. we're up on time here. So
absolutely.
Check us out, bro.
Yes. Thanks everybody for joining us on this celebrity infused IoT Coffee Talk. We've got plumbers. We have our special guest, Bill, who is in the airport in Portland. How cool is that? He's going to go tell those NIST people what's what. Yeah. We all talked about hybrid. We're talking about best effort. It's clearly the best effort episode, just like Leonard and I are giving you our best effort every week. Sometimes we fail. That is just like your mobile operator might let you down, or the plumbing, the network, those tubes that make the internet work. Lots of best effort going on. Anyway, thanks for joining us. You can check us out on iotcoffeetalk.com. Go to YouTube, go to the podcast, wherever you got podcasts. And hey, if you're in Estados Unidos, have a long, fun 4th of July weekend, and we'll see you on the other side. And maybe Jimi Hendrix will show up next week. With a pretty cool solo from Woodstock.
And by the way, Rob, congratulations for being one of the top 50 influencers in 5G on Analytica's list of who's who in 5G. So
you too, bro. Yeah. I think we must have said 5G enough times on social media to get that award. I'm waiting for the UPS or FedEx truck to show up with a big trophy. Yeah. Don't we get a big trophy or something, or big giant thing?
Yeah, you always get these really sharp ones that look very dangerous that you shouldn't take on a plane.
Probably not. Oh my God.
Okay,
thanks,
man.
Everybody. We'll see you on the other side. Hasta mañana.
Bye.